सरस्वती नये नष्टप्रयेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी ओम ज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जन शलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वंशकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So we continue today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We finished the chapter 9 yesterday. So we are going to start with chapter 10. Chapter 10, divisions of the creation. So reading from text 1. Viduruvacha antarhite bhagvate brahma loka pitamaha praja sasarja katidha dehikir manasir vibhuhu. Sri Vidur said, O great sage, please let me know how Brahma, the grandfather of the planetary inhabitants, created the bodies of the living entities from his own body and mind after the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he wants to know now how Brahma is doing the creation. Yecha me Bhagwan prashtas tvai artha bahuvittama tan vadasanupurviyena chindina sarva samshayan. O greatly learned one, kindly eradicate all my doubts and let me know of all that I have inquired from you from the beginning to the end. Vidur asked all relevant questions of Maitreya because he knew well that Maitreya was the right person to reply to all the points of his inquiries. One must be confident about the qualifications of his teacher. One should not approach a layman for replies to specific spiritual inquiries. Such inquiries, when replied to with imaginative answers by the teacher, are a program for wasting time. So here we are seeing that Vidur is approaching Maitreya, who's qualified to remove all these doubts. He's qualified to tell him all the answers regarding spirituality. So we also, regarding spiritual matters, we should approach an authorized personality so they can actually cut out our ignorance. You know, they can give us the proper answers. We should not approach anyone and everyone for spiritual, regarding spiritual subjects. Same, no, as we keep saying that if we want to learn any particular, suppose engineering, we have to go to the engineering school. So same way, for spiritual matters, we should approach a bona fide spiritual master. Text 3. Sutavacha evam sanchoditastena shatra kausharavirmunihi prita pratyaha tan prashnan Hridisthan atha bhargava. Sutta Goswami said, O son of Bhrigu, the great sage Maitreya Muni, thus hearing from Vidur, felt very much enlivened. Everything was in his heart, and thus he began to reply to the questions one after another. The phrase Sutta Vacha, Sutta Goswami said, appears to indicate a break in the discourse between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadev Goswami. While Sukadev Goswami was speaking to Maharaj Parikshit, Sutta Goswami was only one member of a large audience. But Sutta Goswami was speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by sage Saunak, a descendant of Sukadev Goswami. This, however, does not make any substantial difference in the topics under discussion. So, because it was that Parikshit Maharaj was asking Sukadev Goswami, what was the conversation between, because Parikshit Maharaj asked certain questions to Sukadev Goswami. So Sukadev Goswami said, okay, these questions were put by Vidur to Maitreya, and that's how he started the conversation. But Sutta Goswami was listening there when Sukadev Goswami spoke the Bhagwan to Parikshit Maharaj. And then Sutta Goswami is speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya. So this is how we receive the spiritual knowledge in disciplic succession. We hear from bona fide authority, and then we speak. So reading on, text 4.
Sorry, just wanted to check, is Sutta Goswami the disciple of Sukdev Goswami?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Because he heard from Sukadev Goswami.
He's a disciple. Okay.
Yeah. He heard from him.
Yes.
Yeah. So text 4. Maitreya Vacha Virincho api tatha chakre divyam varsha shatam tapaha atmani atmanam aveshya yathaha bhagavan ajaha. The great learned sage Maitreya said, O Vidur, Brahma thus engaged himself in penances for 100 celestial years, as advised by the personality of Godhead, and applied himself in devotional service to the Lord. That Brahma engaged himself for the personality of Godhead Narayan means that he engaged himself in the service of the Lord. That is the highest penance one can perform for any number of years. There is no retirement from such service, which is eternal and ever encouraging. So we can see that when we are working, especially that's relevant to people who are like, having a profession or some kind of occupation, then they retire. But in devotional service, there's no retirement. It keeps on increasing, And that is the penance, because Krishna says that acts of penance, austerity, and charity should never be given up. So what kind of penance are we required to do in this Kali Yuga? That do everything which will help us remember Krishna and avoid the things which will make us forget Krishna. So that is the penance that we can perform. That's the austerity. Is that okay?
Yes.
Text 5. Tad vilokya cha sambhuto vayuna yad adhisthitaha padmam ambascha tatkala krita viryena kampitam. Thereafter Brahma saw that both the lotus on which he was situated and the water on which the lotus was growing were trembling due to a strong, violent wind. The material world is called illusory because it is a place of forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. Thus, one engaged in the Lord's devotional service in the material world may sometimes be very much disturbed by awkward circumstances. So what is this Maya? Is that we think we are the body and that we need to make ourselves comfortable, enjoy ourselves. That we forget that we are related to Krishna. We have an eternal relationship with Krishna, that we are not independent. So that is the illusion, because that's not true. That is what the illusion is. So there is a declaration of war between the two parties, the illusory energy and the devotee. And sometimes the weak devotees fall victim to the onslaught of the powerful illusory energy. Lord Brahma, however, was sufficiently strong by the causeless mercy of the Lord, and he could not be victimized by the material energy, although it gave him cause for anxiety when it managed to totter the existence of his position. So when a person takes up devotional life, then Maya is always testing. Maya is testing to see, oh, is this person really sincere to get to Krishna or just going to waste time? That is her service to Krishna. So when we have material desires, then we are succumbing to Maya. But there are devotees, pure devotees, that they have no material desires. So Maya has no effect on them. They are strong in their devotional service to Krishna. So that was the position of Lord Brahma. So text 6. Tapasahi edamanena vidyaya chatma samsthaya vivrida vijnana balo nyapadvayun sambhasa. And then we say Maya is strong. Why? Then we say Maya is strong because we have a lot of material desires. Because we have desires, so then we are always succumbing to those desires. You know, Maya is just doing her service. That's her service, thankless task of keeping us here in the material world. So what to do? We have so many material desires. How to do? We continue to hear and chant. Continue. And try our best to do the activities that will help us remember Krishna. Avoid the activities which will make us forget Krishna. Gradually, those material desires will change. Our attachment to devotional service will increase then. So long penance and transcendental knowledge of self-realization had matured Brahma in practical knowledge, and thus he drank the wind completely along with the water. Lord Brahma's struggle for existence is a personal example of the continued fight between the living entities in the material world and the illusory energy called Maya. Beginning from Brahma down to this age, the living entities are struggling with the forces of material nature. So everyone, we can see even Brahmaji has to struggle. That's why we should not even desire to get a post as great as Brahmaji. We should desire to go back to the spiritual world where we don't have to be in this illusory world. Well, the world is real. The world is real. The illusion is that I'm the body. You know, that's the illusion. So by advanced knowledge in science and transcendental realization, one can try to control the material energy, which works against our endeavors. And in the modern age, advanced material scientific knowledge and penance have played very wonderful roles in controlling the powers of the material energy. Such control of the material energy, however, can be most successfully carried out if one is a soul surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and carries out his order in the spirit of loving transcendental service. So what we are doing is scientists with their discoveries, they said that they have tried to control the material energy. Then how is somebody can give any example how the scientists are controlling the material energy to whatever degree? I can think of one is that we build dams to control the flow of the water so that it doesn't flood, and then using that to generate the electricity. I can think of that one right now. So what is being said is that we scientists are working very hard to control this to control material energy, but the easiest way to control it is to get that we surrender to Krishna. Then what happens is the same energy, she helps us to come closer to Krishna. Because energy from Krishna's point is the same energy, it's his energy. It's only when we want to forget Krishna, she helps us forget him. But when we want to remember Krishna, she helps us remember him. It's just that. And that's the easiest way that we can get out of this material world. The easiest and the only way we can get out of the material world. Only way. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Any questions, comments, or anything? Till now, what we have heard? No.
So this is now Brahmaji, right? Now Maitreya Muni, like Vidur wants to know about the Brahmaji, how he created everything, right?
Yeah.
This chapter is starting from there.
Yes, how the subcreation is going to
How the
happen.
subcreation is happening.
Yeah. So take 7. Tad vilokya yad vyapi pushkaram yad adhishtitam anena lokan praglinan kalpitasmiti achintayat. Thereafter, he saw that the lotus on which he was situated was spread throughout the universe, and he contemplated how to create all the planets which were previously merged in that very same lotus. So the seeds of all the planets in the universe were impregnated in the lotus on which Brahma was situated. All the planets were already generated by the Lord, and all the living entities were also born in Brahma. The material world and the living entities were already generated in seedling forms by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Brahma was to disseminate the same seedlings all over the universe. The real creation is therefore called Sarga, and later on, the manifestation by Brahma is called Visarga. So the seeds, we, the living entities, were already put inside in the universe. And then all the material elements, all the elements are already there in the universe. Only Brahmaji has to now give shape. He has to give shape, how to organize it. He needed to organize the things. And that is called Visarga, the secondary creation or the subcreation. Text 8, Padma Kosham tada vishya bhagavad karma choditaha ekam vyabhankshid urudha tridha bhavayam dvi saptadha. Thus engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Brahma entered into the world of the lotus, and as it spread all over the universe, he divided it into 3 divisions of worlds and later into 14 divisions. So he divided it into 3, which are the lower, middle, and upper planetary systems. And then these lower, middle, and upper planetary systems are having comprising of these 14 divisions. Like we have Brahmalok, Janalok, Tapalok, Maharlok, then it goes down Bhuvarlok, Bhulok, then it goes Patal, Rasatal, like that, Patal. So 14 of them. Text 9, Etavan jiva lokasya samsta beda samarataha dharmasya hi animittasya vipakaha parameshti asa. So everything existed. He's just dividing now. He's just planning of what's going to go where, and going to give, like, suppose we have Lego, a box of Lego, everything is there. Now we are going to divide it. How? We are going to make a shape of a building, some people there, some car, like that, So Brahma has everything, and now he's going to make his Lego. So Lord Brahma is the most exalted personality in the universe because of his causeless devotional service unto the Lord in mature transcendental knowledge. He therefore created all the 14 planetary divisions for inhabitation by the different types of living entities. So this is Lord Brahma's service. This is his service to Krishna. This is his devotional service because Krishna has specifically asked him to do this work. The Supreme Lord is the reservoir of all the qualities of the living entities. The conditioned souls in the material world reflect only part of those qualities, and therefore they are sometimes called pratibimbas. So Krishna he's a reservoir of all qualities. Because these qualities exist in Krishna, they exist in us to a very tiny, tiny degree. But Krishna has unlimited qualities, but in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami has specified it as 64 qualities. So out of these 64 qualities, a living entity, Jivatma, can have only 50 of these qualities. Only 50, but Krishna has these qualities unlimitedly, and we have it in very minute degree. Very minute, suppose intelligence. So in Krishna is unlimitedly intelligent, and we are tiny, tiny. That's just like giving one example. So, and then, so we are 50 qualities for living entities. Lord Shiva has 55 qualities. Lord Vishnu has 60 qualities. And only Krishna has this 64 additional 4 qualities, which even Lord Vishnu does not have. And that is his flute, his beautiful form, his devotees, loving devotees, is always surrounded by devotees, and his pastimes, loving pastimes with the devotees. So that's how 64 qualities. And so now we, the conditioned souls, are sometimes called pratibimbas. These pratibimba living entities are parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord, have inherited different proportions of his original qualities. And in terms of their inheritance of these qualities, they appear as different species of life and are accommodated in different planets according to the plan of Brahma. So the qualities exist in the Lord. And we get so proud, right? Oh, say, I'm so great, I can do this. But we are able to do this. This quality exists in us because it exists in Krishna to an unlimited degree. Okay, Brahma is the creator of the 3 worlds, namely the lower planets called the Patala Lokas, the middle planets called the Bhur Lokas, and the upper planets called the Swar Lokas. Still higher planets such as Maharlok, Tapalok, Satyalok, and Brahmalok do not dissolve in the devastating water. This is because of the causeless devotional service rendered unto the Lord by their inhabitants, whose existence continues up to the end of Viparada time, when they are generally liberated from the chain of birth and death in the material world. So at Brahma's night is a partial dissolution. Only the lower planets get destroyed inside the water. The higher planets, Maharlok, Tapalok, Satyalok, and Brahmalok, these are also within the material world. But when Brahmaji's night is there, these planets still continue to exist. And then when Brahmaji leaves his body, when he dies, then generally the inhabitants on these planets, then they all, if they are like pure devotees, they'll go back to the spiritual world. Usually that's what happens, that's what's written, generally liberated from the chain of birth and death, if they are pure devotees. If not, then again, they'll be in different planets. Is that okay?
It's a little confusing, actually.
Which part?
No, like generally, like you said, when Brahma dies, that isn't it that this Earth planet is like destroyed completely when he passes away?
Yeah, when Brahma dies, then the whole universe is destroyed. Everything goes back into the body of Mahavishnu. At that time, if Brahma is a pure devotee, he will go back to the spiritual world. And whoever are existing in these planets, Maharlok, Tapalok, Satyalok, Brahmalok, if they are pure devotees, they will go back to the spiritual world. If not, they will again, when the creation happens, again they will come out.
Okay. So again, a new Brahma is born.
Yeah, then again when Mahavishnu will breathe out, again a new Brahma will be born. Again the creation will happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
something more, it is written that due to our gunas. So is it the 3 gunas?
Yes,
So like the way that we acquire, we are given the planets.
yeah, yes,
Right?
yes. We have inherited different proportion of his original qualities. And in terms of inheritance of these qualities, they appear in different species of life. So it depends on the qualities that we have gotten and the proportion of these qualities. Basically, it depends on our desire, you know.
Okay.
Basically, it depends on our desire. There are 8,400,000 species of life because a combination of these 3 gunas, as you just mentioned, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And so then they combine in different proportions. They combine in different proportions, and then based on that, we get different bodies. So everything boils down to our desire.
So basically, we have the desire to come to this planet, to this universe.
Yeah.
We don't want to be there in
Yes.
Vrindavan. And then from like the first birth that we take, after that, whatever birth we take is as per the karma that we've done in that particular birth.
Yes, that's right. And
Okay,
then,
for example, if you take the first life as an ant, what karma can you do? Only humans can do so many karmas. Like if you see other living species, they can't do any karma, like no talking bad, no thinking bad.
so usually it is said that when a living entity falls down, he gets the position of Brahma.
Okay.
And then from there falls down, you know, in the form of rain. Usually this is what is said, that becomes Brahma. Then again, the desires are there and karma is there. Then will come down comes down in the form of rain in the earth. Then the plant is the plants grow. Then that plant is eaten by a man. Then that plant, he's eaten it and it turns into semen. And then that semen comes into the body. It takes birth as a child then.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it's explained. So it all boils to our desire. You know, because based on our desire, we do different actions. And those actions give us the
You
reaction.
have explained it in a very nice way. I remember one Prabhuji, he came to the Hare Krishna Taipei Center, and when there was this, I think it's a years back lecture, and when he explained this, it was so scary. You mentioned it in such a nice, humble way. And what he mentioned is that you're pouring down as rain, the jivas are pouring down as rain, it goes into the grains, then the soil, and then the grain. So it depends that who eats you. That's your karma. Like maybe and pig eats you, you will become a piglet. Maybe human eats you, but that is no guarantee, because there are so many jivas within who are fighting to get to the egg, to hit the egg. So you are just one tiny jiva. So just see that how precious life you have got and what you are doing out of it. Because there were so many of that at that time who were fighting to strike that egg, but you were the one who did it. And so, and then he mentioned the importance of the semen also, that is all made up of, like, it's very, very important. It's in the blood and how you eat. And this life you've got is not to be wasted. So you have explained it in a very humble way, but when he explained it, it was so scary, and a realization that what am I doing with it? What am I doing with my life? The life that I got is so precious, and like the body that we have got itself is so precious. Even a human cannot create a new body, and it will cost trillions. And I mean, I don't even know the amount. One scientist is trying to estimate the amount, that how much your body is worth. So already we are gifted such a huge gift from Krishna, and we are not ready to, be thankful or grateful to Krishna for it. And we want a Gucci purse.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha, for explaining it in a more detailed way. Thank you. It's true. We should try. That's why it's so important for us to accept this knowledge and give this knowledge to others, so that we don't waste this human form of life. Continue with faith, with determination, with enthusiasm, hearing and chanting, and make this the last life. Thank you for giving that reality check. So, anyone wanted to add anything or any other comment?
No, all clear.
Okay. So we'll stop here for today morning. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.